Good morning, YouTube. I am Bearded Ink, and today, as you can see, we're going to be doing a lot of popular or common streamer bot commands that you can use on your Twitch and YouTube channels. This was requested in a previous video in the comments section by Miss Mila Rose. Says this was incredible helpful on the last video. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But Ms. Mila Rose says, can you please do more tutorials for the basic or popular Twitch commands and actions? And absolutely we can, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you 5 or 6 different commands, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can do each of them. One is like a basic, and then I'll do like a more advanced type of style for it. And then if you stick with me and follow along through the end, not only will you have some of the most basic and most common commands for your channel, but you will also have the tools that you need to build and extrapolate from those to create pretty much 90% of anything that you want your channel to do as far as actions and commands go. So we're going to cover a lot. It's going to be kind of busy. I'm going to go a little bit fast, so feel free to rewind and rewatch sections that you may have missed, or use the timer tags below to jump to a section again if you come back later. But we're going to jump right into it, so let's go ahead and get over there. Okay, as you can see, we have Streamer.Bot open, and I also have my instance of OBS open that my bot account is connected to. That's what we're going to be using, so we can start with a clean slate so you get less confused, hopefully. And we're just going to jump right in. So if you need help setting up Streamer.Bot or your OBS or whatever, look for my previous tutorials on that, because I do have some that go into quite a bit of detail and it help you step by step along the way. But for the commands and actions and stuff like that, we want to integrate not only our chat into our streams, but we also want to give them something back. And you also want to have a little bit more control over what happens and when. So that's what the goal today is going to be. And we're going to start off with a very basic command. We're just going to do a Lurk command. And essentially, the Lurk command is just somebody types in !lurk or be right back or whatever your code word is. And then a little message will show up in chat to let you know that, hey, we're here, but I'm going to be away from the keyboard, or I have the tab somewhere else or whatever. I'm not currently paying attention. So while I'm still here supporting you, please don't talk to me because I won't respond. Right. And that's the basic idea behind a Lurk command, and almost every channel has one. So we're going to make one. And the first thing we want to do is on our actions tab, you'll see we have the 3 panels, and this is where you're going to spend most of your time. The actions are what is triggered when the keyword or the key phrase or whatever is put into chat. And then when that is triggered, it runs the series of sub actions that we're going to put in. So basically your sub actions are like your instructions. The trigger up above is what happens. So this will be like your chat command or a button press, something like that will trigger the action, and then the action holds the instructions of what to do when that action is triggered. Does that make sense? Works together? Okay, so first thing we have to do is we have to create the action. So we're going to right click anywhere in this area. It doesn't really matter where. We're going to click on add, and then here we're going to get this little pop-up where we can name it. Now, in most cases, when you see the name input box inside Streamer.Bot, this is for your eyes only. So you can name it whatever you want. Nobody's ever going to see this except for you. And so for like organizational purposes and things like that. So for example, we're going to make this a chat command. So I'm going to put CC for chat command. That's just an organizational thing. You can name it whatever you want. And then we're going to name it Lurk. Now a group, as you can see, if we drop down, we start out with no groups. And a group is, again, just an internal organizational feature. And we're going to call this chat commands. And I can spell, I promise. Okay. And then for right now, we're going to leave the queue as default. We're going to go into queues in a little bit later. So don't worry about that right now. But basically, this is just a grouping that the commands or actions will run in. We're going to leave it as the default one. And then for all of these extra stuff down here, about 95% of the time, you won't need to do anything with any of these little toggles ever. The one you may want to use is the always run. And this again will go in with the queue thing, because sometimes you can have what is called a blocking queue. And basically that means nothing else will run until that queue is empty. And that's useful for, especially if you're doing like a lot of sounds or a lot of images or videos. You don't want them to play one on top of another. You want to wait until one's done to play the next one. And that's what you would have a blocking queue for. But because we can group these into queues, you also have the ability to pause the queue, which means anything in that queue won't run at all. And the always run action will say, hey, even if my queue is paused, we're still going to run this one particular action out of it. So it's a lot of like redundancy, a lot of organization, a lot of backup things that are going on. But like I said, for the most part, you won't need to run or click any of these. So just the name, the group, and the queue, fill those in. We're going to click OK. So now, as you can see, we have a group, our chat commands, and we have our first action. So we want to click on the action to highlight it, and that lets the bot know what we're working on. And then we're going to come down here to the sub actions. With a lurk command, basically, somebody's going to type in !lurk into chat, and the bot is going to recognize that and then run the sub action, which is just going to be a return message sent to chat. So what we want to do is we want to right click in the sub actions. We're going to find Twitch. We're going to come down to user and then get user info for target. Now, why are we going to do this? The first thing we're going to do, click on that. We're going to get this pop up. What this does basically is it takes all of the information that Twitch sends through the API and it inputs all that information into the various variables that are built into the bot. So username, are they a follower, subscriber, a VIP? Are they affiliated, non-affiliated, a partner? What time, the last active? All of these different things become variables that you can use in your commands and actions, but we have to populate that. And so that's what this does. And right now we want to get info from the user. So you have, you'll see the source type is the broadcaster, which is you, and this will populate extra tags such as the game title, your game tags, your game itself, and information about you, which we don't need for a lurk command. We need either the user, which is the person using the command in your chat. It'll populate all of their information. The from input, this variable means if they type something along with the command, right? So we'll cover this again later. In other commands, we're going to use this. And then the variable command is they can type in a variable or use a variable, and you will get those filled in specifically, which is the least used unless you're like actually doing some hardcore coding. So for the most part, you're going to use user or from input. And in this case, we want to fill the user information in. So we're going to click OK, and you'll see it says add target info from who redeemed. And basically that means we're filling in all of those variables from the person that typed this message into our chat. Next, we want to actually respond to that. So we're going to come back into right click in here. We're going to come back to Twitch. This time we're going to go to chat and we want to send message to channel. Now, before I click on this, I want to show you a little secret, because send message to the channel is one of the most popular things that you're going to do. Instead of going through all of these little sub menus, if we right click, you'll see everything disappears, nothing happened. What we did with a right click is we added it to our favorites. And so now if I right click and we go to the favorite sub actions, which is the very top one, you can see that the Twitch chat send message to channel is there now. I've also added the get user info for target. And this is just a little shortcut so that we don't have to go through all of these different sub actions every time. We can just come right here. So we're going to send a message to the channel. And then as you can see, yet another little pop-up. Everything is built in Streamer.Bot, and Nate has made version 2.0, or in this case, now we're on 2.2. pretty much where you don't have to leave the tab that you're on to get everything done. And such is the case here. So now that we're sending the message, this message area here is going to be whatever you type in is what's going to show up into the chat. And because we have the variables added, we can use variables to pull that information specifically for that user, which is what we're going to do. So let's just say something simple, like we want to thank the user for their support or for being there and to hurry back or something like that. So we would say, thank you. I promise I can type thank you. And then we might say, let's do %user for the Lurk. Hurry back so we don't miss you too much. Okay. And then we're going to click OK. Before I click OK, let me just cover this preferred account real quick. You'll have two options, the bot and the broadcaster. And if you remember from my setup tutorial, you can use your own bot account. If you have one, we have a tutorial on how to set that up. If you don't, each message will automatically default to the bot as the preferred account, which sends the message. That's the name that will show up in your chat. If you do not have a bot account connected and you do not change this to broadcaster, that's fine. It will always default to the account that you have connected. Why would we want to change this? If we have a bot account, why would you ever want to use the broadcaster account? Well, there's a few reasons, and let me just cover those quickly because it is information that you need. For the most part, you'd want your bot account, if you have one, to be the one to respond to all these things, right? But unless your bot account is actually subscribed to your channel, they can't use your subscriber emotes. They can't use other emotes, things like that. They would have to use like the Twitch embedded emotes and stuff like that. Also, you may want something more personal, like if you get a raid or something, you may not want your bot to be the one to welcome everybody. You might want it to actually come from you. So that's just why you would want to use your broadcaster or bot account. But again, if you don't have a bot account, don't worry about it. Leave this as it comes. It'll default to your broadcaster account automatically. All right, so we're going to click OK. And now, as you can see, we have our who redeemed. We filled in the variables. We've used the variable user from that fill in to make our message. So now, if we go to our chat and we type in Lurk, you're going to see nothing is going to happen. Absolutely nothing happens because we don't have a trigger. Triggers are what cause the action to occur. And now, previous versions of Streamer.Bot, you had to go to the different tabs and make a command or make a channel point redeem or whatever it was. You had to call that action on a different tab. Well, with the triggers, it's all built into this page here. So again, we can right click, everything's a right click to bring up the menu. And we're going to look for our actions. Now we want to, we're going to have a command as our action, right? So the exclamation point, Lurk, those are commands. So we're going to come to core. Here's commands and the command triggered. So we don't have any commands by default. So we have to create a command. So when we click create command, we're going to get this pop-up box. And for those of you that are keen-eyed, yes, let's close all this down. If you go to the commands tab and right click, you can add your command here. You get the exact same pop-up, right? And then you can create the command, but we're going to do it on the actions page because that's what it was designed for. Now we don't have to leave this tab when we're working on a specific command. So we're going to go back to our core. We're going to go to commands, command triggered. We're going to right click to put that in our favorites. And I actually just deleted it because I already had it in there. So we're going to right click again and now it's there. Okay, so we can do that. So we're going to create a command. This one, again, the name, like I said before, doesn't matter what you name it. It is for you and your organizational needs. We're going to name it Lurk. The command here is what is actually used or what the bot is looking for. And in our case, we're going to use exclamation point Lurk. Now, Lurk is the most common. Everybody knows it. Everybody tries it when they come to chats and things like that. But you may want to use something different as well. You can have more than one trigger for a specific command. So let's say, for example, you wanted to use !BRB. You could do that as well. Each command needs to be on its own line. So we're going to do to here. We'll type BRB. Okay. I covered most of this in that build-up tutorial, so I'm not going to go into too much depth here. But if you're on YouTube or Twitch, you want to make sure that it's a YouTube or Twitch message or both if you're on both. And then over here, again, remember, as long as it says allow at the top and the allowed is empty, everybody can use it. If we wanted only a certain group to use it, we have to put that group in that allowed section. So in this case, if I click the moderators over, now only a moderator can use the Lurk or BRB command, and we don't want that. We want everybody to be able to use it, so leave allowed blank. We're going to click OK, and then we're going to see that the command is now there in the drop-down window. We're going to click OK. And there it is. So now we have our command, or our trigger, excuse me. Our trigger triggers the action. The action runs the instructions or the sub actions. And so everything should work as well. So if we go back to our chat now and we type in Lurk. Thank you, Robot Bearded, for the Lurk. Hurry back so we don't miss you too much. Just like we put in there. And as you can see, we have the Robot Bearded here is filled in for the user. So because Robot Bearded was the one that triggered it, that is the user. Now I do have the pop-out chat logged in from my Bearded Ink account. So again, if I do ! Let's do BRB. You can see it shows up as well, just like it does with the Lurk message. And then this time my name is in for the user part, right? Thank you, Bearded Ink, for the Lurk. Hurry back so we don't miss you too much. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so let's just minimize that. We got the Lurk message working. Let's move on. So that's just, again, that's just a basic, right? We get our information and we send a message to chat. You're going to use those two a lot, but for a basic Lurk command, that's how you do it. All right, so moving on, we are going to do something a little more complex now. And let's make a percentage command. These are the things where people will type in and they'll get a response telling them that they're a certain percentage of something, right? Like you could have like an ! Cute, and it'll return that they're 56% cute or whatever. So we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and use the cute one. You can use whatever you want. You can make it silly. You can make it funny. You can make it mean. If you wanted to see how intelligent someone was or something like that. But we're going to keep it simple, keep it cute by using cute. And we're going to go ahead and do that. So how do we do that? Well, first thing, again, we need to make an action for it. So we're going to come in here and we're going to add our action. And we're just going to call this one cute %. I promise I can spell. The group, if we have a group before, we can see it in the drop down now. So we're going to go ahead and add it because it is another chat command. We're going to leave it in the default and we're going to click OK. So now again, we need to get our information from who redeemed it so we can tell who to target. This again is going to be from the user. We're going to say OK. And then we need to send a message to the channel to respond to them and tell them how cute they are. But we don't know what to put yet. And I'm going to explain that. We don't have the random number to pull in. So for right now, we're going to say you are % cute because we don't know who and we don't know the percentage. Actually, we do know who because we filled that in. So we can go, aw, user, let's do that, user is, and we'll say is % cute. So now we have a message to send to chat, but we don't have a number to fill in to show them how cute they are. So luckily this is all built into Streamer.Bot. So we can right click here. We can go to the core we can go down, I believe it's under logic, and get random number right here. And then you're going to get this pop up. Now with this pop up, you can see we have two different types, between and next float. Now, for most of you, leave it on between. What between does is it returns a whole number between the two numbers that you enter below. The next float, and you can get all this information down here as well, but the next float basically will take whatever number is input. The math, if you're using a lot of math formulas, for like a D20 die roll or something like that. But it also returns decimals up to 17 decimal places. So if you wanted to show like what is the percentage chance that I'm going to make it through this level, something funny, and it'll be like 17.9874326%, this really long percentage number, just to be funny. Or if you need exact for your math formulas, that's what the next float will do. But for the rest of us, we're going to keep it simple. So we want to go between 0 and 100%, and we're going to say okay. And then we're going to drag this up above the message, because everything that the message is going to use needs to be populated first. So we're going to populate the random number variable with this action here. So now we can come back into our message, and where we have the percent, we're going to do percent random number. And as you can see, Streamer.Bot follows this basic coding. Multiple words are no spaces. First word is not capitalized. Second word is capitalized. So random number cute. Bing, right? Okay. So now you'll keen eye of you to notice, thank you, that I didn't do my organizational prefix up here. So let's say we made a mistake like that. We can come over here and we can click and edit, and then we can just rename and do our CC and click OK. And now it's there and perfect. Now, just to note, if you've done a lot of actions and sub actions and stuff that call this action, like your triggers and things like that, that call this action, and you go and rename it, you don't have to rename it everywhere. It'll automatically rename it anywhere that you have used this action or action name in your if statements and things like that, that we will look at a little bit later as well. So don't feel bad if you need to rename something. You're not going to have to go through your entire list and rename it in every instance. If you rename it here, it'll rename it everywhere automatically for you. Okay, so now again, we need to make another trigger. This is going to be another favorite because we're doing another command. We got to create this command as well. We're going to name it cute%. And this one is just going to be !cute. Again, it's going to my Twitch messages. You can also do YouTube. I want everybody to be able to use it. There's no cooldown needed. Click OK, click OK. Now we have our command, triggers our action, which runs the instructions, and we can test it out now by doing !cute. Robot Bearded is 100% cute. We knew. We all knew. We all knew. All right, let's do it again. Show you that we are getting a random number. There's 52%. If we do it again, there's 19%. He's getting less and less cute. I don't like this. Let's get him back up there. 36% cute, 66% cute. We can go with that. So as you can see, it just pulls a random whole number and then inputs that. And of course, your message, you can make that say whatever you want, right? Okay. So that's a basic, there you go. Now you have the random number added in. As you can see, again, keep in mind, anytime you're outputting a message to your chat, you have to fill in the variables first. So everything will go above that, right? Because it runs top to bottom. We've made a couple of commands, right? And there is a command tab, as we showed you earlier. What happens when we make a command here is that they show up here. We can reuse them for any other action. We can enable them, disable them. So if you have an action that runs in multiple calls, it does multiple different things, you can come here and you can make an edit to it if you need to. Like, let's add something to the command. We want to add cute another name, or we want to now we've started streaming on YouTube as well, so we want to come in here and make sure that that goes out to the YouTube channel as well. Whatever the case may be, you can come here and make the change, and you don't have to go through every instance that you have it in all of this, because this eventually will fill in pretty quick. You're going to have a lot of stuff in the actions panel as you keep going and growing. So it's really nice that you have one area you can go to make a change everywhere. The next one is going to be a little bit different. This one I like because I get to show you some pretty cool stuff. So first off, we're going to add our action as per usual. We're not going to forget to name it. This is also going to be another chat command. This is going to be a hug. Now, for me, it's a hug. For you, it could be a forehead kiss. It could be a slap. It could be a bonk. It could be a kick. You know, whatever the instance that you need it is. And that's why I love this one, because they are so versatile. You can actually have like 5 or 6 different ones if you want. The group here, we're going to leave it with chat commands because that's the group we have. And we don't need to do anything else with the queue at the moment. So we're going to click OK. Now, with this one, we're going to need to pull in more information than just who typed the message, because they are also hopefully going to type in somebody else's username, right? Because I am going to hug somebody else. So for that, we're going to come to our favorites. We're going to get the user info, and this time we're going to go from input. Now the from input will fill in all of the same variables as the user input does, or I'm sorry, the user drop down source. That's the word I'm looking for. But it also adds in the variables what the person types as well after the message. So that's the one we need for this command. So we're going to click OK. And now you can see, instead of saying from who redeemed, it says add target info from input. Now we want to send our message to the chat. So we're going to send message. We're going to say %user hugs, and then we're going to give the name of the person that they hugged, right? Target capital user % so tight their eyes bulge. I don't know. Whatever you want it to say. Right. So now we got that. We're going to make our little action. We're going to come in here again. We're going to create a new one. This is going to be the hug. Basically, it's just going to be hug. Everybody can use it. No cooldown needed. Say OK. Now, because we have the input, if we go back to our chat, we can come in here and we can say hug, and then let's just hug, I don't know, Alex. So we're going to hug Alex, and it should say Robot Bearded hugs Alex so tight their eyes bulge. Just like that. And as you can see, it works. What happens though is that more often than not, people are going to come in and use your commands, and they're not going to know that they have to put a name in. So if I just come in here, oh, I want to give you a hug, you'll see it doesn't fill in the target user because there was no target user. So we don't want this to show up in chat, because then it looks like our bot is broken or our command is broken. So what we can do then is we have to create something to tell the bot, hey, if they don't put something in there, you got to fix it yourself. So basically, we're going to use what is called an if-else statement. So we're going to come to the sub-actions. We're going to come to core. We're going to go to the logic. And then we're going to see if-else, right? And this is going to bring up the if-else statement. And basically, if you don't know, an if-else statement is a programming language thing that says, okay, we're going to run this action, right? But if certain parameters are met, you're going to do this. Else, if it's not met or some other parameters are met, you're going to do this instead. So you're going to run 2 actions depending on what information you get. So for this one, the variable is going to be the target user, because that's what we're looking for to be populated. So we're going to type in here target capital user, and then we can drop down and find does not exist. So if target user does not exist, then we're going to do something, and we'll come to this in a moment. And we're going to run that action immediately, and then we're going to break. Because if the target user doesn't exist, we're going to run that other action. We don't want to continue running the current action, or else they're going to get 2 messages, including the broken one. Okay. And then the else action, we're just going to leave it because we don't want it to run anything else. We want it to continue on. But because we don't have anything, we have to create a new action. So we're going to come over here. We're going to call this one, I'm going to go CC, and then we're going to name it Hug Rando. And we're going to say, okay. Oops. We need to put this in a group so everything stays together. There we go. Easy peasy. All right. Lemon squeezy. So now with the Hug Rando, this is going to run after the hug is run, if there is no target user, right? So we've already added the target info from the input, so we don't need to do that again, luckily. Okay, but what we do need to do is we need to add a name to fill in for that particular message. So a way we do that is we go to the Twitch user thing, sub action, not thing. Go to the Twitch sub actions. Okay, we're going to look for user and then get random user or add present user. Now, I like to use the random one and then change the count. It'll default to 3. I don't know why. We're going to change that to 1. And then the present only, this is an optional check for you. Obviously, it's self-explanatory. It'll only pick from the list of who's currently in your chat. This goes kind of both ways. It's a double-edged sword because it can, in essence, it can pull a name from somebody that's lurking, which may call out a lurker that doesn't want to be called out, right? But if you uncheck it, it can also pull out a lurker because it's all random, but it can also pull out people that aren't even there, like somebody that was on your chat list 3 streams ago, for example, that may not even be there. And I have seen it where it pulls a name of somebody that you have recently banned that may not have been updated on the list yet. So I always check the present only. I'm sorry, my lurkers, you know how much I love you, but in the rare instance that it's going to pull that out, you know, it can just apologize, or we just act like nothing happened. We just keep going with the stream. You know, it's up to you how to handle it and how you want to handle it. I like to use that because I would rather, at least if it's going to call out a lurker and have the chance to, I at least want them to be there. You know what I mean? So we're going to do that. Now that we have that, this is going to basically replace our target user. Okay. So we're going to come down here now and we're going to do our send message to channel, but I want to use the exact same message so that it doesn't get weird. So we're going to come here and we're going to copy this sub action. I'm going to come back to the Hug Rando and I'm going to paste the sub action. So what are we going to do is we want to change the target user then and to what has populated by the random user, which is random user 0. So again, lowercase random, uppercase user, and then 0. And that means the first person on the random list. Because when you do the random, it's going to populate an entire list. So you can pick. That's why you can select how many you want, 3, 7, 9, whatever. We're only picking 1, and we want the first name at the top of the list. Random user 0. So we're going to click OK. So now let's move if target user above our Twitch message, right? Because that's where we need it. So now we can come back in here. So if target user doesn't exist, now on the do action, we see the Hug Rando and we click select. Remember to break after or else we continue. So let me just break this down for those of you that aren't really coded inclined to kind of let you know what's going on. And I feel that if you kind of understand that, you'll be more likely to use it. So add target info from input. So we're taking all of the information from the person that used the command and the name that they put after the command. So if that name after the command doesn't exist, right, we're going to stop doing this and we're going to run this one instead. However, if there is a name, we're not going to run this one. We're going to continue on, and then we're going to fill out these variables and send this message to the chat. Okay, so let me show you how that's going to work. So let's go back and we're going to hug Alex again. Alex was populated into that target user. So there it is. Robot hugs Alex so tight their eyes bulge. Now, what happens if we don't leave a name? It should run the other thing. Right? So Robot Bearded hugs Robot Bearded so tight their eyes bulge. So you can see it's pulling from a random list now. I've actually hugged myself in this instance. And of course, the more people that you have in your chat or have visited your stream, that particular stream, that list will be longer and longer, and it'll be more and more likely to pull a different name. And my poor Robot Bearded has never gone live on Twitch, so he doesn't have a big list of users to pull from. But as you can see, that happens. Now, I want to take the hug and hug rando one step further for you. I figured this is the best place to put this in. I want to add a counter. I want to be able to count how many times the hug command has been used, or a person has used the hug command. So we're going to come to make sure we're on the hug command itself. We're going to leave. We get to leave all of this. We don't have to change any of that. But what we're going to do basically is we're going to create our own variable. Okay. And it's very easy to do. So just bear with me, just follow along. What we're going to do is we're going to create one. So we got to, we're going to increment the user value by 1, right? And then we are going to add that to the counter. And then we're going to change our message here to add the counter to it. Because we're creating our own variable, we have to set that variable. So we're going to right click on the sub actions. We're going to right click. We're going to come to the core. We're going to go to globals, and you're going to see there's global get and global set. Okay. These are our global variables. We're going to set this variable here, right? So the destination, because we want to keep track of how many hugs that person has given, we're going to use the user redeemer. Okay. This is going to be persisted. You can uncheck this box. If you uncheck the persisted box, basically what this means is every time you close Streamer.Bot, when you reopen it, this command or this variable is reset to 0. But we want it persisted because we want to see how many hugs they give over the time that we're live and streaming, right? So when they come and give one hug every stream, you know, after the end of the month, we want them to be able to have 30 hugs, not 1, right? So the variable name, again, this is very important in how you type it out because it's got to be exact. So whatever you type here, we need to make it exact everywhere else. And to keep it simple, we're going to do hug and capital counter. And then my increment value, I'm going to change my drop down to increment because we want to increment the count by 1 every time because they're giving 1 hug. We want to increase it by 1. Okay. So now you see we have this now, our increment. We're going to put this up underneath the if target user because we want this to run after, right? So we're going to figure out, is there a name? Yes. Okay, keep going. So now that we've set the global, we need to get the global variable. Remember, just like everything else, we have to populate the variable before we can use it. So the set command, the get or the global set populates that variable. Now we need to withdraw the information from that variable with the get command. So now we're going to get this command. Now remember, our source is the redeemer. The variable name is the hug capital counter, not capital counter, just capital count. I can type, maybe not. All right. And then the destination variable, if you are using a variable like the hug counter for various different things. You can use different destination names, and basically the destination name is the one you're going to use in your chat command as the variable percentage or whatever. But for our purposes, I don't want one counter keeping track of 27 different things. So we're just going to name it hug counter. I promise I can type. So our user redeemer, hug counter, and we're going to start everybody at 0, right? As you can see. So if I did a hug command, it would say 0 because I haven't given any yet because we haven't defined the variable yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, but before I do okay, I want to show you this persisted again. There it is. Remember, it's got to be persisted to keep track over everything. It's in both, right? Persisted in the set and persisted in the get. Okay, and then we're going to drag this above the Twitch message, right? Okay, so now that we've got this above, as you can see, just like everything else, we've set the variable, we've got the information pulled from that global variable. Now we get to add it to our message. So we're just going to come in here and we're going to say, now user % has given, and then remember our variable hug capital counter, double check my spelling, hugs in chat. Okay. So now with that done, if we go back and try this now with the hug, and we'll do, let's hug Charlie. I don't know who Charlie is, but we're going to give him a big old hug. Robot Bearded hugs Charlie so tight their eyes bulge. Now Robot has given 6 hugs in chat. Look how many we've done, right? So if I come, let's say my actual account, I can do, let's hug Archie. I don't know who Archie is, but we're going to hug Archie. So Bearded Ink hugs Archie so tight their eyes bulge. Now Bearded Ink is given 1 hug in chat. That's my first hug since we've added the variable. Awesome, right? Everything's working great. But what happens now, for those of you with the keen eye, when there isn't a specific user? Because that person's still giving a hug, right? Yeah, well, we got to add that stuff to the rando message as well. Very easy to do. We're going to come in here. First, we're going to grab the get and set. So set first, we're going to copy. We're going to come into the rando. We're going to paste sub action. We're going to come over here to the hug. We got to get the get. And we're going to copy. We're going to go to rando. We're going to paste. We're going to drag the Twitch message to the bottom. Right? And then we're going to come back here. We're going to copy in this message. We're going to copy Control C what we put there for, just once, into the hug rando now. And then we're going to paste. Boom. So now if we come in here, it should still say random name, probably somebody that's present, and then it should still increment. So we should see Robot Bearded with 7 hugs. There we go. And he hugged Archie, because we populated the list with the name up above, right? So if I do it again, now Robot Bearded hugged himself this time because it's random, because he didn't put a name in, and we've given 8 hugs in chat. So as you can see, now that's a way we can have a hug command, or this can be, again, slap or, cuddle, whatever you want it to be. If you want to add that extra security, now you have the randomization to add a random person, and we can keep track of how many hugs, slaps, kicks, whatever the case may be for you, that person has given in your chat since you've created that command, the whole time since then, with the persisted. So that's pretty cool, pretty advanced, a little bit, and of course you can just do the basic add target info like we did with the Lurk and send a message. And if they don't hug somebody, you just say, hey, you got to put a name in. But just in case, and you don't want to say that every time, make them pick somebody random. Because most of the time, what's going to happen is somebody will do that. They'll pick somebody random on accident, and they'll go, "Oh, I didn't want to hug that person." And then you'd be like, "Well, you didn't specify, so it just made you hug whoever was closest to you," and make them feel bad about themselves. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't make them feel bad about themselves. Bearded Ink, I hear you saying, "Yes, what is it? How is it that I can have a message show up just randomly without anybody doing anything?" Well, I'm so glad you asked, and that brings us to the next part. We're going to do a timed message. How do we do a timed message? Well, let's do it. Let's do, now, a time message, as you know, is a message that comes up on a specific timer automatically. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to type anything. It'll just show up. And a lot of people use these to show off their social media links or their latest clip, or, or remind people to take their medicine, whatever it is. It is called a timed message. So we're going to make one, and I'll show you how to do that. It's very, very easy. What we're going to do again is we're going to add a new action. Everything's an action, and then we're going to call that action. So this one, let's just make it our Discord, right? So we're going to make a Discord link. This new group is we're going to call this timers. And we're going to say, okay. So now you can see we have a new group, and I can minimize these to make it look pretty. Okay. So we're going to click on Discord. This one, we don't need anything. We don't need variables, none of that. So this is going to be very simple. Send the message to channel. Hey guys, let's be polite. Don't forget to please join, I don't know how to spell. Join my Discord, the Bearded Pint. And then we're going to have a link to my Discord. So we'll put that in. Bing. Let's make this a colon. Okay. So now the message just says, hey guys, don't forget to please join my Discord. And of course, you can make this say whatever you want. Here's a link to all my socials. Here, you can have one for your Twitter account, one for your Instagram, one for your Snapchat, whatever you want. You can have it be reminder to take your medicine and stay hydrated, or reminder to love yourself. Whatever you want it to say, that's how you say it. Now, the trigger for this one is going to be a timed action. So we're going to come down to core, and you're going to see timed action. And we're going to click OK, and we got to create a timer. Same thing, never have to leave this page. Again, with the name, we can name it whatever we want. We're just going to name it Discord so I know what the hell it is. Discord. We want it to enable. We want it to repeat. Now comes the fun part. How often do we want it to show up? This works just like any other bot does. We can have it an interval based on number of seconds. So if we do 600 seconds, that's what, like 5 minutes or whatever it is, right? So every 5 minutes that'll come up. That's probably too quick. So let's make it 900 seconds. And then we can click OK and then say OK. And now every 600 or 900 seconds, this trigger is going to trigger the Discord, which is going to send this message to our chat automatically, all on its own, and we don't have to do nothing. Well, what happens when you notice my message is showing up too often, or it's interfering with other timed messages that I also have set to 900 seconds? So it looks like my bot is posting just a wall of bullshit every 900 seconds or every 10 minutes or whatever the case may be. I want to fix that. Okay, cool. Let's go to our settings tab. On the settings tab, you'll find the timed actions tab, and there is our timer. Okay, so we can right click on this and choose edit, and then it brings this up again. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we have two options. The first one is my favorite and the one that I like. You click on random, and then we can do 1200. And basically what this means is that once this action is run, the bot will start its internal timer for this action. And when it gets to 900, it will go, okay, we can trigger again, but wait, we're going to pick a random number. between 900 and 1200. And that random number is 1036. And then the counter is going to keep going until it gets to 1036. And then it's going to run the action. It's going to pick another random number, 912, right? And it's going to pick 912. And then when the counter gets to 912, it'll run it again. And then it's going to pick another one, 1162. And then it'll run, as you can see. So it's not going to be the exact same time every time. And if you do that and you keep these and you have multiple timed actions, they will be less likely to run one right after the other. But let's say you're doing something, a test stream, or you're playing really late at night and your fans and followers are not awake yet, and you're waiting for them to come into chat and your chat is kind of dead. You don't want the same message appearing, boom, 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 and just have this fill up your chat until your people arrive, right? That's what the lines is for. So I can say, let's set this, say, to 10. So now what happens is not only does this timer have to be met, so it's only going to run every 900 seconds, but only if there have been 10 lines of chat messages in my chat since the last time it was run. So if nobody's chatting, or only one person is chatting, or a couple of people, but they're not chatting very much, whatever it is, if they haven't met 10 lines by the time the counter gets back to its 900 or its random number, it won't run. And then once that 10th line appears, the count will again start over. And then once that timer is met, it goes, oh, we've met the timer. Yep, we've met the required lines of text in chat. We can show the command, and then it'll do that. I don't need that, but you may want to, and that's how you do it there. So we can say okay now, and then if we go back to our actions, we don't have to do anything because it's all set up. So we have our time message. We have it set to a random interval of when to appear. And then, of course, if you want to add the lines of text or not, that's completely up to you. But basic time message, easy peasy. Again, you can have it do whatever you want. You can also have it pull variables. You can have it call people out. You can say, like, your moderators or whatever. And you can do just the ones that are present. You can use your variables to figure out which ones are present and say, hey, today's moderators are, whatever. Okay, so let's move on. Speaking of our moderators, let's give them a little bit of power. So we're going to add a new command here just for our moderators. And this one is going to be set game. And we're going to make this one a new group called mod actions, whatever. And this is for our moderators because they're badass. And for this one, what we're going to be able to do is this way, this is for you variety streamers out there that have moderators in your channel or, just yourself if you need to. What this is going to do is it allows you to change your game. Like, if I'm playing World of Warcraft or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to switch over and play some Fall Guys. And so you switch the game out and you're doing all that, worried about OBS, and you start playing Fall Guys, and your moderator goes, you got to change your game title. It still says World of Warcraft. You're like, oh, and you got to stop your game and you got to go. This allows your moderators to type in a simple command and change the game name for you. So what we're going to do again is we got to get the info from input because they're going to have to type in what the game name is. So we're going to get the user info from input, right? Makes sense? Okay. And then we get to do change game, and that's already built in. It's pretty cool. Twitch channel, set channel game. The source is going to be string. The title is going to be raw input, raw capital input %. Because we can use variables in the title and we've already got our input from here, we're going to take exactly what they type and put it in there. And then we want to go ahead and send a little Twitch message to the channel that says the game title has been updated. Okay. And that just lets you know that, hey, this has been run and executed. It's done. A little bit of feedback to let you know. So now we need to make a trigger for it. So we're going to come in here. We're going to do another command. We're going to create this command. This one's going to be set game. And we're going to just type it ! set game. Now, I only want my moderators to be able to use this because I don't want people coming in and changing the name of my game if I'm doing a just chatting stream and they change it to hot tubs and bikinis or something, right? So we're going to move moderators over to the allowed section. Now, again, if the allowed section, it says allow in the grant type and the allowed section is blank, everybody and their mother can use the command. Once I add a name to the allowed type, only that group and above can use it. So if I add my VIPs, that means VIPs, subscribers, and moderators can use the command, but followers and them cannot. Okay, but I want my moderators. So this means if moderators, the only person above a moderator is you, the broadcaster. So me and my moderators can use this command only. So I'm going to say, okay. And now I have that. So let's take a look at what happens. I'm gonna try to bring this over so you can see. So here we see maybe Robot Bearded is playing currently Among Us. He's not, but go with it. Okay, so if we come in here and we say set game, and then we say Phasmophobia. Remember, it's got to be exact too. So if the name has exclamations or punctuation or spaces or multiple words, however it shows up on Twitch, they have to put it in exactly, or else it won't change the game. It'll say it's run, but it won't change the actual game title. So like for Phasmophobia, if you put just Phasmo, it's not going to work. For Ghost Exorcism Incorporated, if you put Ghost X, it doesn't know to put Ghost Exorcism or Ghost, what is it? Exile, if it doesn't know, right? So there's various games that it could be. If it doesn't find an exact match, it doesn't change anything. So if I put this in, game title has been updated. And if we go look, now it says Phasmophobia. Pretty cool. Now my moderators can use it too. This is why my chat's popped out. So because I'm a moderator in this channel, I can say set game. Let's make them play Ghost Exorcism Incorporated. The game title's been updated and you get to see it live right there. Bam, now we're playing Ghost. And see how I had the spaces? I had to have the period in there, everything. It's got to be exact. So if you use this command and your moderator uses it and they're like, oh, but the game didn't update, be like, well, spell it right. It's got to be how Twitch shows it. Okay, let's move this back out of the way. We can minimize this now because we don't care. And we're going to go back to our bot. All right, so one of the cool things is that if you have multiple actions that are similar with minor changes, you don't have to create everything from scratch. So in this instance, we're also going to do a set title, which is the little title of your stream. That's the words above the game that you see there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate the set game because it's going to be pretty much the same thing. And this is very useful, especially if you're using actions and sub-actions that have a lot of instructions, in multiple steps. You don't want to have to retype each one of those by hand. So we're just going to come and duplicate. And as you can see, it automatically highlights it. So we're on it, even though they are exactly the same. But we're going to go ahead and double click here, or you can right click edit because we don't want it to be the same thing. So we want set title. Okay. And then this one right here, we're just going to go ahead and delete that because we're not using the game, but pretty close. We're going to come back to Twitch, chat. I'm sorry. Where is it? Channel, set channel title. Okay. And then this one again, raw, capital input, no space. All right. Drag that up. And then the stream title. Let's just change this to stream has been updated. Now we got to change our trigger. So what I can do is I can just double click on here. We're going to create a new one. This is going to be set title. And again, exclamation point set title. Moderators only. Click OK. Click OK. And it changes. So now we have that. So if I come and check it and I go set title, currently the title is what? What is my current title here? Let's take a look. Current title is I like spoopy. Yes, you do. Okay, so we're going to come here. We're going to go set title. And let's go I love ghosts and money. I don't know. Smiley face. The stream title has been updated. Has it? Has it though? I love ghosts and money. It has. As you can see, it works. And again, we can see it live right from our moderators who says, no. Look, that's not cool. That's not cool. Set title. I like spoopy. Been updated. Boom. It has. There you go. All right. So that's how we know that that works. And there you go. You've given your moderators some control over your stream to help you out so that you don't have to do everything. Cool. We're going to move on because that's what we do here. And I got one more thing that I want to show you, another command that I want to show. And this one uses your OBS. And a lot of people have asked for this. And so I wanted to include it here to give you everything that you need to extrapolate from all of these. Again, I hope that you find how to pull in variables, how to set and create your own variable, how to use random numbers and percentages in the math functions, making commands, all of this stuff, and be able to extrapolate it. And now you can see, oh, I want this command. Take the piece from this and the piece from that. We put them together, we can create this. So I'm giving you all of the basic tools that you need to create pretty much anything that you do. And there's only one thing left. So we're going to come in here. We're going to make, we're going to say, we're going to call this, I died. And we're going to give it a group, stream control. I don't know. You can make it whatever you want. I just like having some organization. This is going to be a command that anybody can use anytime that I die in a game. And it's going to show an image and play a sound in OBS. Okay. But first we have to set up OBS. So we're going to come in to OBS. I'm going to use my alerts panel because why not? So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a little media source. I have a little GIF. We're going to call it died. I don't keep it simple. This is going to be a local file. We're going to say browse. I think it's on my desktop. Died. Where'd it go? There it is. Zelda with the bomb. We're going to say, okay. Oops. We want this to loop as well. There it goes. So we're just going to have this show up right in the middle of the screen. Why not? Right. And we're going to lock that down. It doesn't have volume, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay. So there's the image. And we're going to make that hidden. But take a look. We know it's less than a second long. So now we're going to add some volume to this. We're going to say, oh, we need to hear something. And I have a little clip that a great friend of mine, Leah Bear, made that just says he died again. So we're going to add that. This is going to be another media because it's audio, right? And this is going to be he did. It's because they have to be unique names, right? This is also not going to loop, but it is the audio. That's not it. He died. There it is. Okay. We're going to say yes. Now we've got to go in here and we've got to monitor an output so I can hear it. And then if we
He died again.
He died again. Okay. I know you can't hear it, but you're going to. So if we look, it's 2 seconds long. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so we know that the audio is 2 seconds. So we're going to come into our bot, right? We have our action, I died. We're going to come in. First thing we have to do is we have to turn the visibility in our sources on and off. And that's the big thing because they automatically play, as you can see, when the visibility starts.
He died again.
As you can see, if I turn this off, turn it on, you can see this starts going automatically. Right? Okay. So now we're going to go back to our bot. Let's turn this visibility off for testing. So first thing is OBS, not Twitch. We're going to come to sources, which everything I need is always at the bottom. I don't know why. Alphabetical is horrible sometimes. And we're going to set source visibility state. Okay. And just in case you didn't see it, OBS, sources, always at the bottom, set source visibility state. Okay. Now, depending on what scene you're in and how much crap you already have loaded in there, like on my main OBS, right, I have a bunch of stuff, right? So it's not going to auto-populate with exactly what I need, which is what it did this time. So let's go over it. The connection should be your connection to OBS, which is always going to be the same. And we set up, watch the setup video if you need to know how to do that. What scene we are in. So we are in our alert scene. Our source, what is it that we're changing the visibility of? This is the died. This is the image itself. So we want that to be turned on. So the died visit and make it visible. You can have visible, hidden, or toggle it. We want it to be visible. And then we say, okay. And then I'm just going to duplicate this. And I'm going to come in here and we're going to make it be the audio. He did. And then the audio is going to play, right? But the audio goes for 2 seconds. So what we want to do is we want to create a delay. Now, I highly recommend that you right click here and add that to your favorites because you're going to use delay quite a bit. And we know that, how long did I say that was? It was 2 seconds, right? So I want to go 3 seconds, but the delay is in milliseconds. So we're going to do 3,000. And then we're just going to duplicate both of these. And then we're just going to change them from visible to hidden. From visible to hidden. So we're going to run this action. It's going to turn the video on, the little picture. It's going to play the sound. And then after an extra second, just to give it that time to play through, we're going to turn both of them visibility off so that we can use it again. And then we're going to have a trigger. We're just going to do a chat command. You can also make this a channel point reward, anything you like there. We're going to create one. We're going to call this, Zelda Death. I don't know. Zelda Death. The command will be DED, did. Okay. And everybody can use it because, you know, it'll be funny, right? And then we're going to say, okay. So now if I go into OBS, we have these visibles off. If I do exclamation point dead, what should happen is died should come on. You can see the image. He dead should come on. And then you'll hear the little, he died again, right? And then after 3 seconds, the visibility for both will shut off automatically and I won't have to do anything else.
He died again.
Well, just like that. And then anybody can use it. So anytime I die in game, they can do it and it'll show this little image.
Died again.
Easy peasy, right? Lemon squeezy. So now we have control in our OBS of a scene, of an image, of a source. And as you can see, if you go through, and I highly recommend, again, I say this in every video, go through all of your sub groups or sub action menus and look at what they do. I mean, OBS, there's a lot of control that you can have over OBS. You can change scenes, you can change sources, you can make things, you can even take control of filters that are on sources within scenes and toggle just that filter on and off with a command or a button press or an action. So, go through and take a look at everything that you can do. But these are the basic tools that you need. So let's go back to our, there we go. Okay. So again, these are the basic actions that you need to create about 90% of everything that you can do with Streamer.Bot. The other 5% needs your C# or is variables for other things that are more advanced. And I will be doing some tutorials on more advanced things, but obviously this one has gotten quite lengthy in time already. But I feel like I've covered with these 6 things pretty much everything that you need to do. Again, take the information from one and this one and this one, mix them together, extrapolate, and your ideas can come to life. But I hope that you found that useful. So if you did, hit the thumbs up, give me a little like. If you don't subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button there and help that algorithm out, and I appreciate it. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comments section below. And if you have an idea for something that you want to be a tutorial as well, like Miss Mila Rose did today with hers that prompted this tutorial, then please feel free to leave that in the comments as well. And I will do my best to either answer you in comments or make a video tutorial about it. I am a little backlogged, as you may know, but we're trugging. We're plugging away. We're trucking through. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm making headway. I'm getting them out as fast as I can for you guys. And I hope you can appreciate that. And thank you again for your patience and understanding. I love you all. And until next time, everybody, love, peace, and chicken grease.